How's it going? This is Brian from Chained is Good, and we recently went through 59 rolls of wheat pennies that were bought from a local estate sale. We did this on a live stream. It took us about 3 hours and 45 minutes, but we got them done. We're mainly looking for semi-key and key dates. That's about it. And I've separated everything by decade. Here we have the teens, the 20s, the 30s, and there were a lot of them. Even more 40s, a few steel cents, a small stack of 1957 Ds in BU red, and the finds from the 50s. As you can see, not many. So the easy part's done. Now I'm going to go through and scope all these pennies looking for varieties and mint errors. I'll be back with a recap once I'm done. We're going to start with the teens. All right, the teens are done. There was nothing special. There was one 1909 and a couple of 1910s and so forth, but no varieties or mint errors. Now, let's knock out the 20s. All right, the 1920s are done. I pulled out one 1920 Philadelphia with a nice wood grain pattern on it. This is caused by an improper alloy mixture on the planchet sheet. These are nicknamed Woodies. No, I'm not kidding. Now it's time to go through the 30s. This one's going to take a while. Okay, the 1930s have been defeated. Here's a recap of the finds. To start off, I pulled 3 wood grain pennies, a 1936P, a 1937S, and a 1939P. I also pulled a 1936P with a lamination crack going through the obverse. 1936 was a great year in this hunt. I'm going to show you why under the microscope. Here we have a regular 1936 Philadelphia. Look at the lettering of the word Liberty. Look at the date. And especially look up here at the motto. Now compare this lettering to this example here. Notice how much thicker the lettering is here in the motto, as well as in the word Liberty. And also notice the bottom left corner of the letter R is missing. And even though this example is a bit worn, you can see notching here at the top right corner of the N, the bottom left corner, and splitting at the upper left edges of the lettering and the motto all the way across. This is DDO number 3 on Variety Vista, or the FS-101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide, and can be identified by the doubling in the word Liberty, the bottom left corner of the letter R being missing, and the doubling up here in the motto. This 1936P DDO FS-103 is the find of the hunt so far, probably a $15 to $20 coin. It's also the oldest DDO I've ever found. Now it's time to start the real gauntlet, the 1940s. This is going to take me even longer. I better get started. Okay, the 1940s are done, and they were as good as I'd hoped they would be. Let's check out what we got here. We had 3 wood grain scents, or woodies, and they're all 1940 Philadelphias. We have a 1940 Philadelphia with a small clip here at the top left around 11 o'clock. As you can see, it's on both sides of the coin. Here we have the reverse of a 1940S. If you look on the right side, you can see 2 rim-to-rim die cracks. This is known as a retained cud or a pre-cud. Eventually, this section of the die would have broken off, creating a cud. This is a good find. Here we have a 1941 Philadelphia with a small clip down here by the date. This was found during the live stream. Now, if you watched the live stream, you may remember how excited I was about how many 1941 Philadelphias were on the rolls. Let me show you why I was so excited. On this first example, you can see doubling in the word Liberty, which is most noticeable over here in the letter B. You can also see heavy doubling to the lower right of the lettering all the way across the top of the coin. This is DDO number 1 on Variety Vista, or the FS-101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. It's a fairly valuable variety. I'd say this example is somewhere in the XF45 range, putting it at around $150 to $170 retail. I will definitely be submitting this one for grading. On the second example, you can see extra thickness here in the word Liberty. But where it really gets interesting is here at the top of the coin, where the lettering is heavily doubled all the way across the top of the coin. Pretty cool, huh? Here's a close-up shot of the doubling on the word Trust. This is DDO number 2 on Variety Vista, or the FS-102 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. I'd say this example is somewhere in the VF30 range, putting it around $50 to $70 in value if it's slabbed. Unfortunately, this example has some damage here on the reverse, which means it probably won't get a straight grade. That's a bummer, but it's still a great find. Out of the 3 Cherry Pickers varieties for this date, we found 2 of them, and the ones we found were the 2 most valuable ones. And while we're on the subject of varieties, we had a couple of repunch mint marks. Let's check them out under the scope. Here we have a 1941D. If you look at the bottom of the mint mark, you can see a secondary D peeking out right through here. This is RPM number 6 on Variety Vista. And on this 1947D, you can see a split here at the top left corner of the mint mark and a heavy split down here at the bottom as well. This is RPM number 2 on Variety Vista. All right, we're almost done. All we have left are the steel cents, this small stack of uncirculated 1957 Ds, and the rest from the 50s. Let's get this done. Okay, the steel cents in the 1950s are done. There was nothing from the steel cents, but we had some good finds from the 1950s. Let's check them out. First up, we have a 1958 Philadelphia with a nice lamination crack on the reverse. Next up, we have a 1953 Philadelphia, and this one's special. Let's check it out under the scope. Under the scope, if you look at the word Liberty, you'll see doubling along the bottom of the lettering all the way across. This is DDO number 2 on Variety Vista, or WDDO number 4 on WexlersDoubleDie.com, where it's considered a best of variety. This is a good find. This next find is a repunched mint mark. You can kind of see it with the naked eye. Now let's check it out under the scope. On this 1956 D, you can see a second D peeking out here to the top of the mint mark. This is RPM number 3 on Variety Vista, and it's a pretty cool one. There were 8 other RPMs I have not attributed yet due to time constraints, but as you can see, 2 of them were on the uncirculated 1957 Ds. I'm going to show you a quick recap of these under the scope so you can see what to look for. Here we have a 1951 D with a split serif here at the top left of the mint mark. Up next is a 1952 D with splitting of the top left and the bottom left of the mint mark. Here's another 1952 D with a small split here at the top left of the mint mark. Up next is a 1956 D with a split serif at the top left of the mint mark and extra width at the bottom left. Up next, we have a nice uncirculated 1957 D. If you look at the mint mark, you'll see splitting here at the top left and the bottom left corner. Coins like this can often sell for between $5 and $10 on eBay. This is a good find. Up next, we have another nice 1957 D with splitting here at the top left of the mint mark and extra thickness and a split here at the bottom left. Up next is a 1958 D, and as you probably guessed, there is splitting here at the top left and bottom left corner of the mint mark. Those are the key areas to look at when looking for RPMs. Last up, we have a 1958 D with light splitting here at the top left corner of the mint mark and die chipping here in the date. Well, it had to end sometime. We are finally finished with all those estate sale rolls. I scoped 2,938 wheat cents and came up with 27 good finds. This is, without a doubt, the largest and most time-consuming coin project I've ever worked on, and it paid off. I paid $354 for all 59 rolls, quite a bit more than normal because they were supposedly unsearched estate sale rolls. Well, after scoping everything, how well do you think I did? Did I make my money back? Well, if I get $160 for this 1941 Philadelphia FS-101 once I get it graded and it grades high enough, $15 for this 1936 Philadelphia FS-103, and $40 for this 1941 Philadelphia FS-102, I believe I'll get around $300 for these finds together. Plus, I have over 2,900 other wheat cents left over, and at $1 nickel a piece in value, that's around $145. Of course, the wheat cents from the teens, 20s, 30s, and the steel cents typically sell for more than $1 nickel a piece, so we did pretty well. And if you're wondering, the find of the hunt was the 1941 Philadelphia FS-101. I will be getting this one graded. And on that note, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and it made you want to raid your grandma's wheat cent stash, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have any feedback or questions about any of these finds, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Thanks again, and remember, every coin has a story, and some of those stories can lead you to a grading company. I'll see y'all next time.